The Backrooms is one of the biggest horror phenomena on the internet, exploring liminal spaces, but being someone completely brand new to the Backrooms, is it something a newcomer can enjoy, or is it just too niche? Let's talk about it. Backrooms does the unthinkable, mainly after being the major horror follow-up to the phenomenon Obsession. Backrooms pulls in a complete stranger into the lore and into creepypasta. I never knew anything about all of the lore behind this, and I walked in blind. I did not know the director, Kane Parsons, was publishing in-depth lore and explaining it since 2022. And despite not knowing anything about the Backrooms, I was really pleasantly surprised by the time the movie ended. I've seen people really excited about Backshots. Oh wait, I meant to say the Backrooms. And after all this time I was thinking, why are people excited about this small movie from A24? And after seeing it in the theater, I now understand why. Well, to be honest, I don't completely understand everything in the movie, but only because I did not understand it all. The ending, to be exact, it doesn't mean I did not have a great time. Because the level of curiosity I was left with left me rather intrigued, and I want more. Aside from the lore though, Backrooms is well directed by Kane, and it has some really interesting characters that are really put to the test. We have Clark, a furniture store owner who failed at being an architect, who has been seeing his therapist, Dr. Mary Kline, because he was kicked out of his home. Clark disappears and his therapist goes looking for him in the Backrooms. We are then thrown into this world where if you stay long enough, you basically go crazy. There are a lot of weird great aspects in the Backrooms. What I like about this movie the most is how it feels small, mainly due to having a handful of characters. But at the same time, it feels large in scale, mainly after we cross over into the Backrooms. And the thought of it expanding non-stop, how it goes forever, how it was built. This all is something I find really creepy and interesting at the same time. Each scene in the Backrooms is a major highlight. The first time Clark entered the Backrooms and how everything is played out. Chef's kiss. From the slow, eerie camera angles, to his curiosity to go in deeper, to the creepy voices, to when he leaves and goes back into his own reality, it was all just perfect. The very first scene of the movie laid out the groundwork perfectly well. It basically showed us how every scene in the Backrooms will give us goosebumps. And I told myself, if every scene in the Backrooms is just like this, then hell yeah, count me in. To be honest, one of my favorite scenes here is when Clark asks his employees to join him, only because they have a camera, and then all hell breaks loose. The found footage here was done so well. Again, let me remind you, before seeing the movie in theater, I never heard about Creepypasta or saw a single video about this on YouTube from the Backrooms. So please forgive me if a lot of things that I say in this video are well known for those established fans. But being fresh to all of this really made me aware how things are really creepy and disturbing in the Backrooms, and I love it. Aside from the creepy vibes, I really enjoyed the story between the two characters. I gotta point out, Kane knows how to direct and handle two important characters in the movie. Clark is basically going through a tough moment in his life. He has been kicked out of his own home, he lives where he works in the furniture place, and he is basically depressed and is full of anger. Then we have his therapist, Dr. Mary, who also has a major part in this movie due to her background. How they both connect to the Backrooms was well established. And what happened to both of them was a feast for the eye, because after all, they both had to find their own path. I've seen this movie 2 times in the theater, and another thing that I like about this is the connecting dots here. And I have to be honest, the first time I left the theater, I was a bit confused, mainly by that ending. But after seeing it again, if you pay close attention, it's actually explained at the beginning of the movie how the Backrooms was created. It's a scene where Clark is on the car listening to a tape by his doctor, Dr. Kline. Clark was listening to a tape as he was parked in front of his home where he was kicked out, and the tape was talking about memories. That's all I would say though, but great storytelling like that is what really makes this movie shine, on top of being well directed with amazing creepy vibes. I have mentioned how this movie was well directed, but let me give you 2 examples that really stood out to me. A scene where we have Dr. Mary standing in front of her old home. She looks down to the ground and you see the pavement and you see 2 handprints. Her old hand as a child and her mom's hand in the pavement, of course. This is the flashback scene, and as the camera is facing up below them as they do the handprint, we see a bulldozer above them, drop rubble over them, and the scene switches. I don't know about you, but that was a great transition. And another scene that really stood out to me was yet another flashback with Dr. Mary. This time around, Dr. Mary is a kid back at home, and her mom is telling her not to open up the window. And then there's a moment of silence. The camera looks at the door at the exit, and then bam, there's a jump scare. If you know, you know. Just like Obsession, the score here is phenomenal. It adds a whole different vibe and layer to everything overall, especially in the scenes in the backrooms. A great example of this is the first time Clark goes into the backrooms. It was all perfect, but what really helped it be perfect was a great score in the back. I don't know about you, but the score here, it was a combination of 28 years later, like the new ones, combined with the Obsession, of course. The score here really added fuel to the flame. It really helped build the tension and the suspense, and mixed that with great directing and acting. Man, this franchise definitely gained a new fan here. The beauty of this movie is how all the dots are connected and how the movie helps you figure everything out. I'm actually really shocked how this how this creepypasta can be transformed from the small screen or YouTube onto the big screen. I had to give props to the team and the director here because what they did to hook us in, to keep us wanting more, or to just crave more out of this, is a complete win overall. I want to know more about the company mentioned in the movie. I have some thoughts about that and thoughts about how the Backrooms was actually created. I'd rather not talk about that here because I will not go into spoiler territory. But please, if you have thoughts about this yourself, or if you wish to expand my knowledge about this, please let me know more about this in the comments below. I would love to know more about this overall. The final thing that I love about this movie is how that is vague enough to keep you on the edge of the seat, wondering what's happening, but it also has rich characters to keep you intrigued and hooked with the story and the acting. To top it all off, it's actually creepy, it has a good few scares, and it gives you goosebumps. I couldn't have asked for a better combination. I will now mine a part 2 here to further explain things overall and to explore more of this lore. So in conclusion, the story here is stitched very well together. From the interesting characters with issues that we can relate to the scares and the goosebumps that we get while walking and wandering down the halls of the backrooms. This is a great starting point to everyone that's brand new to all of this information and to all of this lore. And I really do hope all of the fans that have been here for the longest enjoy this take. This is a big win for horror this year. I'm still mind blown by how Kane, now the youngest director to have a #1 movie domestically, managed to craft this. Props to you, my man. This all leads me to my rating for this film, and for this one, I give it a 4.8 out of 5. This is truly the best cinematic experience in theater. I highly recommend buying it in 4K or in VOD for your digital collection. Well, thank you for your time today, my cinematic family, and for sticking to the end of the video. If you are a true cinephile, please hit the subscribe button. By the way, guys, if you like this review, you will love checking out my review for Obsession, another major horror highlight of 2026 that delivers in every way possible. Obsession leaves you feeling uncomfortable and broken by the end of the movie. Definitely go check it out. I am Chewy, and this is Chewy Cinematic Talk. Take care and I'll see you next time.